1 second. Hold on. I'm not used to use with only one screen, so I have to do share first and then, or how can I, hold on, she didn't practice this.
You'll see just the first screen that you see, you can just share that.
Yeah, I put the first screen and now I have to see, how do I see, here you go. Yeah, but I can't see the, oh, hold on a second. So I am here with the screen, sorry about that.
No worries.
I have to, so I have to do a share screen, but I have a laptop. Okay, here you go. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, hold on, let me make it. Here you go. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. I am very delighted to participate to this HyperHack and to meet the most enthusiastic and probably best developers in the world in automation using the UiPath platform. I am behind me, you see the Golden Gate Bridge. I am based in Silicon Valley, but currently I am in Romania at our office here, where it's one of the teams which develops the document understanding platform that we have in our platform. So what we will discuss today, I will try to show you how generative AI will influence the UiPath platform and how you can work in automation compared with using generative AI. And then I love Rohit said this, moonshot subjects for the HyperHackathon that Rohit said. I never used that. So these are kind of crazy ideas of George in a different language. So anyhow, I just suggested a few ideas which I think should be interesting. I am really believe that a hackathon like this is one to play with your imagination, to come out with these new technologies. And my theory is that through this, even if you use a technology which you never used before, it will be extremely useful both for us, for UiPath, to see how you imagine using these emerging brand new technologies, and also for you, because you will be exposed to the latest things which are going on in the world. So what I want to say first, that if you follow the news after the ChatGPT Christmas gift to the humanity, which was released before Christmas in US, everybody talks about ChatGPT. And there are two currents of people. There are some people who say that AI will destroy humanity, and there is another part who says AI will help humanity. I am basically in the group that says that this ChatGPT generative AI will help humanity, not will destroy it, because there were many other things in technology which came out, everybody got scared, and then the history proved that the humanity knows how to adapt and have to be very careful with technologies which can become dangerous, and will build these so-called guardrails that you hear a lot lately from everybody. I recently heard an interview with Jeffrey Hinton, the creator of AI, and he was talking about these guardrails. And this is, I've never heard the term guardrail before. I actually talked to our friends, our UiPath colleagues from London, from communications mining, where is Professor David Barber, who also talks a lot about guardrails. So the UiPath platform, obvious even before, was using AI. And what happens right now, if you see what's going on in the world, I think we are in the moment, a milestone in technology and in IT, and not only in everything, which is similar with the times when the internet was first made public. Because this technology I don't think if somebody can have a domain that says that doesn't matter who you talk to, will come out with a use case where this new technology can be used and change the way how we worked before. So in UiPath, very recent, 2 days ago, I think you guys are the first one who will see the slides that I will present here. A group at UiPath released how is UiPath different and why using generative AI automation will change, because it's a vague thing. I mean, yeah, ChatGPT is great to play with, but really in the automation where this will be essential. And I know what I will show you will evolve later, and with the great help of you guys too, community. And I challenge you, if you see other potential patterns, I will show you 3 patterns of the way how to use generative AI. And maybe you will come out with other patterns. And if you show it to us, you will see what we mean by these patterns. We'll be happy to basically help you maybe in a blog to show those patterns too. So this is a kind of side challenge to come out with new patterns outside these 3 patterns that I will show you. So basically, advantages of using the UiPath are much more than purely calling a model. So basically, one of the things it's gathering context for a certain thing. I mean, UiPath is very good in collecting content from different sources, knows how to get content from sources with APIs, get content from sources without APIs. The other thing we work with multiple models. So we have specialized models, basically, which can be used to complement the Gen AI interactions. The robots are the little effectors of this. So I always had this imagine of a robot having a knapsack with different skills which are used when per need, on a need by need basis. So basically, yes, the robots now, most of our robots, and not only robots, because there are ways to deploy this without robots too, will have this potential, they will have this tool in their knapsack to use it in the future. Human in the loop is very important, and in every component of UiPath platform, there is not only where AI is used, but especially in those where AI is used, you have this human in the loop concept, pattern. So always the human, we can implement these guardrails that we talk about. So these type of, because Gen AI in general can create weird stuff, which we call hallucinations. So for example, let's think about a medical application. If you ask certain automation to take all the information from a patient and come out with a diagnosis, nobody will release the diagnosis released by AI to a patient without a doctor reviewing what's going on. This is only one example. Confidence in the governance, this is a huge thing. So in the fact that basically, in order to work with these technologies, which are totally different like before, you have to have a governance and audit logs, which always will keep track of what happened. As a parenthesis, last week for people in Europe, but this will have an effect everywhere in the world, Europe released for the first time, the European Parliament adopted the AI legislation. So basically, defined the guardrails of the society of European community that they put around application with use AI. If you follow me on LinkedIn, and I suggest you to connect with me on LinkedIn, you will see I wrote an article which shows what type of legislation Europe is thinking about, which will have impact on everything, every software, and not only software that uses AI to solve these problems. So these three patterns, which were created by UiPath, this team, there is a team who is fully dedicated on the Gen AI powered automation, was released 2 days ago. And I'm sure we will create new patterns in time. I want to mention that we will distribute this presentation, so you don't have to take screenshots. You will get a PDF version of this, and you can use it. So the three patterns that we talk about is this reader writer, the analyst doer, and the assistant, which are the three patterns where we see the superpower of generative AI will create this. This will bring a lot of new stuff to the automations. So the first pattern is this read-writer pattern. So if you look at the LLMs, they basically, most of you, they know basically LLM, what creates. It has this, the whole thing is based on a simple thing that, simple in theory, the fact that if you have a set of tokens, which can be a text or something, these are based on the LLM models, these large language models, you'll be able to predict what the next thing will be in this sentence or this set of tokens, which is the next one. And this is the basic property based on which we call that generative AI. It's extremely good to humanize the communications between computer and humans. So, for example, think about in many applications, for example, you had to generate an email or something to send to a customer. Most of the applications were like standard. You get the same boring emails every customer, but how nice is now, because you have a technology which, if you collect all the information about the customer, and here the UiPath platform can really help you with this, then put this together, create a context, like for those, we will talk about context in a short time. If you create this context, then if you send this information up to date to the generative AI, so for example, everything about the customer, you can ask, okay, write me a nice email to this customer. If the customer had a complaint about something, for example, in the bank, the email can be done so to put something nice in it for the customer, not something very dry, to tell the customer, okay, we got we'll make sure that we'll fix the problem. It's much nicer to say, dear Steve, we are really feel sorry that in your attempt to finance your new house, so you create something based on what you know about. So this is the reader writer, and if you look down here, you'll see all kinds of use cases, and I am sure that if you think about, you'll find new ones. You'll see here another summaries, for example, and I saw myself a very nice use case of this. I did some medical test, and I did a CT scan. And basically, up to now, when I went on a website from the hospital where I did this, they gave me a report written by a doctor who said all kinds of stuff which didn't mean anything to me. And then now there is a button which says, do you want to see a summary of this report for which doesn't require medical attention? Sure. So you press that button and immediately you'll see the shorter summary, which will tell you, oh, you are healthy, no problem. You have a little problem here, but in general, it's good, or you have to go to a doctor, something in a language that I understand. So that's what I see here, the humanization of talking to a customer using this technology. And also UiPath is used at the beginning to build up the content. And then on the right-hand side, after you, for example, generate transactions, let's assume it was in an email, was a request for change my address for my account for a bank, then I can generate the transaction, extract from emails all the information that I need. By the way, this is done by, for example, our communications mining. And then you send to the downstream system, which can be Workday or can be, I don't know, SAP or any other platform where these transactions will end up. The second, the second code, the second part, and here it's, I tell you an example, the analyst doer. So for example, I'm in a bank, and you know the banks have this KYC, the KYC, you have a lot of use cases here. This is the use case that I worked on. So you have the know your customer, no? So let's assume you take all the data from using UiPath about the customer, which can be from sources like files, can be from my CRM system. Can I get the data from, I don't know, from the internet to look at money laundering databases in the US or many other sources, internal or external. You put them in the LLM, you put the LLM and you say, tell me if there is a chance that this person is involved in an illegal activity. So definitely, if the LLM decides, yes, you should check more about his company about this company because they have an office in Cyprus, and Cyprus is known as a place where people are laundering money, and then the next best action of where to go to collect more data or what to do is decided based on what LLM told me. And here I had a very nice discussions once with David Barber, which he's the person who worked for UiPath as a scientific advisor, who came, basically was one of the scientific advisors for the company that we acquired then, which is now the communications mining. You can find, he has known courses of large language models. He told me his vision about the generative AI in automation. And he gave me a very simple example. He said, let's assume somebody goes and says, to ChatGPT, we talk ChatGPT, ChatGPT is OpenAI, but basically we talk ChatGPT as generative AI in a shorter way. It goes there, he said, why don't you write me a poem about the weather in London yesterday at 10 a.m.? Well, ChatGPT has no clue about how was the weather yesterday in London. And then what the knows, they know that let's go where to go to get the data for the weather in London yesterday at 10 a.m. And I go to the BBC weather site, I get the weather and I get the temperature, rain or not rain, wind, and then I send it to ChatGPT and ChatGPT can write you a poem about this. So here will come in place something which is called the LangChain that I will talk to you about, which is basically a platform where you are able to access different sources, LLMs, or other sources during an automation workflow and get the data that you need and then combine it with the generative AI. The next one is the assistant, which is known. Basically, it's you use it as the intelligent assistant. This is a trend which is happening a lot. If you look at the AI startups, and if you work with the UiPath technology, we used to have robots which were specialized in different roles in the company. Now we had an attended bot who was designed to have all the tools for an accountant, an attended bot who was designed in order to have all the tools which could help a finance worker or a healthcare worker. So the profile of the client ended up there. Now, the trend here is to create intelligent assistants. So the future, this technology not exist yet, but I'm sure I saw startups who are doing this. So if you know about everything about a person, then you build an assistant which has its own large language model, but doesn't have everything, a big one. It's a much smaller one, which is basically fine-tuned, an LLM, for things which are relevant to a person who does a certain specialized work. And this is basically, you take this and you create this intelligent assistant. There are tons of things like that. Recently, I talked to one of our very large clients, it's in insurance, and they are thinking to create, for example, an intelligent assistant for a client of an insurance company. Think about that. How cool will it be when you go to a bank, let's say you take a mortgage or you take a loan for your house or a loan to buy a car, or you buy an insurance. You are not, you don't have time to read those hundreds of documents which are there. How cool will it be if I upload all these documents that I get from the bank or from a lawyer or from somebody, and I tell my assistant, please summarize me this in 10 sentences and tell me if it's something which is not good for me. And the ChatGPT and generative AI and through an intelligent assistant will communicate you this. So here I just show you a little bit about, we talk about context and the prompts. So, I wrote an article in LinkedIn about how the prompts are the stored procedures of the 21st century and of the generative AI. It's basically the way how you talk to the computer, but it's not anymore 4GL, like, for example, those who work with stored procedure. It's basically you talk in English, or in other language doesn't matter, but you have a certain way how you communicate, in the way to make sure that the generative AI piece will understand what you try to do. And here it's an example. It's basically the task and the context. So I am an SDR at UiPath. Write a nice email to an automation developer that should get their interest and make them want to book a demo call with me. You tell this to the generative AI, and this is basically the email which has certain parameters. So this is basically the way how you add certain context to the prompt. And here it's another way, much better outcomes. Again, another way to tell the context. And this is the whole thing which is called prompt engineering that we will talk about, which is super important, both in giving enough data to generative AI to generate content for you in a more human way and more efficient way. And in the same time, we'll talk a little bit about fine-tuning models. So when you take a model and you want to train that model for yourself, for based on your interest, then you have to use a kind of prompts. There are multiple techniques for this, the way how you teach the system, and to reduce the hallucination part, which will not make up responses when they don't understand the result. So as we discussed this, you see how this described how through UiPath you can access different systems. And now are the moonshots. I have 3 more minutes. The moonshots that I suggested here. So one is I definitely want you to look at LangChain and Hugging Face. I can tell you without, I'm not allowed to tell terms and stuff, but soon you will have integration to the Hugging Face models. Hugging Face is an open source collection of multiple LLMs which can be used, doesn't cost money. And LangChain is basically a platform that is used in order to be able to create workflows where I call it intelligent workflows, in the sense that if you look at the UiPath orchestrator, at this point is done. I mean, the humans, you have fixed workflows, but to create a dynamic workflow which changes based on different things of the data and what generative AI says, you need to have a new way of thinking about intelligent workflows. And I think in order to do that, LangChain will be an important tool. You will see here some links which will be interesting for you to look at. Then I want to bring this other technology, which it would be cool to think about how you can do. Multimodal AI means that you are not working only with text LLMs, but you can combine multiple information which are in different formats. For example, I saw a demo of a company. It was a package of files, and in these files you had medical files for about a patient, you had lab results, you had doctor notes, handwritten notes, you had different medical reports, you had x-rays and CT scans. So we have different format types, and they just put it in the system, and then after that, this is already a multimodal AI model, because you combine images with text and different type of text, different handwritten, non-handwritten, and then you create a unique model, and the doctor was able to ask questions and create also the patient summary. The next one I give you this is the personal intelligent assistant, where basically you can see it's what we discussed about. And I gave you a few very recent articles where you will see where this goes. And if you look right now, you'll see, I just read last week, the BMWs, for example, implemented in their info entertainment system, they basically created the first intelligent personal assistant created with generative AI technologies. So that's another one. And the last one from my moonshots, it is basically, I give you here some access to some prompt engineering, and I highly suggest all of you who are interested to watch the course of prompt engineering, which is there. It's of Gary Ng, with a famous scientist who was at Google. And also we have already a promptbase.com, which is a prompt database. You'll see how people create these specialized prompts, which you can do a lot of stuff with it. And then basically they are monetizing it. So I hope, hold on to stop. I hope that I didn't tire you too much with all these ideas. I try to give you some things which will make you see this, that this has to be an interesting way, how you will probably experience the first time in your life a combination between this new technology, which is so revolutionary at this point, and our platform, automation platform, which will make the platform, the automation more intelligent, and it will just open up new ways to solve problems that we couldn't solve before. Thank you very much. And I'm sure will be questions. Feel free to ask them. So thank you.
Awesome. So let's keep questions coming on the chat. We will certainly make sure that the questions do get answered towards the end of the session. Nisarg, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rohit, and amazing description, George. I mean, throughout the entire session, I was just listening to each and every word. I was also taking notes parallelly, side by side. So, and me speaking from as a representative of our UiPath community, right? So I have a lot of questions in mind from people who are going to participate in this hackathon. Recently, I also participated in one of the hackathons, and where we used UiPath technology, and it was only 17 hours hackathon. And within those 17 hours, we were able to literally create UiPath app, then get the data into UiPath document, data services, and then using UiPath integration with OpenAI and UiPath's AI model, we were able to build a whole project, and we won the hackathon. And that time I saw that we can literally work on all three layers of a complete end-to-end process, which is like UI layer, backend layer, and along with the integration of generative AI within just 17 hours. Isn't that amazing? That's what we call a full-fledged platform. So with that, I just had a couple of questions, like for participants who are going to join this hackathon, and especially they want to join the AI category of the hackathon. So what would be your suggestion for those who are non-technical and who are not too much, well aware about machine learning or artificial intelligence terms? So where would you guide them to start with? George, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So the future system actually will not put me to unmute this, because I have my assistant and knows that I am really not always pay attention, and will unmute for me, because he will understand that you asked me to unmute. That's a great idea for something like create for the people who are not using Zoom, right? So yes, your question is for somebody who is non-technical, participates to the hackathon, not somebody who is not trained yet.
Correct.
Okay, so what I would do, and for this, I would definitely, for example, go and look at communications mining, because communications mining, and my friend who I wrote a blog with, whose name is Aaron from our team in London, defined the so-called invisible AI. So communications mining was created absolutely for non-experts, for non-technical people, for SMEs. So I would highly recommend to go to look at communications mining. I would do the course in our academy. Is basically a course which I think it's 2 hours maximum. I did it myself. Yeah. And then get an environment, play with it, because you will see the future there, which is in the present in this communications mining, because soon you will see the document understanding will use the same paradigm. They have something called active learning, and there you will be able, you can create an application in your domain very easy. So for example, if you want to process emails for a support in a domain like, I don't know, banking, you are able to create your own taxonomy, and you work with this without having to know anything. The AI is basically hidden. It's invisible AI, which will help you to do this. And you also will see trustworthy AI, which is a big thing, because we'll teach you what bias is and how to eliminate bias in a machine learning model. And it's really interesting. I would recommend everybody who is not very technical and it's more a subject matter expert to take communications mining, because it's the piece together where you can learn everything about AI without having to work with the AI directly.
Agreed. You also mentioned in your session about LangChain and Hugging Face, right? And also about the multimodal AI. So, so this whole participation in this hackathon, they have more than around 2 weeks or 3 weeks of period, right, for the development. So, do you think will the developers be able to leverage LangChain and Hugging Face if they start learning about it now and try to implement that during the hackathon?
I mean, if you look at Hugging Face has a collection of all kinds of tools. But you see, I apologize for this. I am not sure if we're releasing now in June the gateway to these LLMs. But if not, you still have, I don't know if who has access to the integration service, but if not, you can integrate with an API through the normal way, how we do it, in Studio without the integration service. And in Hugging Face, you can have access to tons of LLMs. And also, if you look in LangChain, which is open source, it's another API. So basically, you can call APIs. In my opinion, for guys who are experienced in using with APIs, it's basically these are done for very short. You don't have to do something super complicated. But if you take a little use case, which will be like, for example, what you guys did, Nisarg, which was a very useful, of course, that was pretty complex because of the complexities of the document. But if you do something, you see a use case which doesn't have to be very big, not big, but something which can be the basis to develop something which is very useful later, I would definitely do it. I think it can be done.
Great, thank you so much for that. So that motivates actually me also. And a quick question. So based on your immense experience in the world of AI, and you have seen literally right from where it emerged, and now you're seeing it at a booming level, right? So from your experience, let's say if someone is building their hackathon about AI, and they are planning to make it more smarter, what are the characteristics that you would look at if you are a judge, or from a perspective of a perfect hackathon solution? What are the characteristics that you would look at from the solution?
Yeah, I mean, I probably will be a judge. I don't know exactly if I will be or not. I am personally, but basically this is my personality too. I always loved things where people combine things together which other people didn't think about. So that means that I love things, for example, like you put together, if I remember the hackathons, the previous hackathon where I was a judge, I was fascinated by one of the things there, which was using AI for the way how you arrange the products on a web page based on previous history of the buyers, the buying experience. So that was fantastic. The other one was, I can tell you this because that's what I judged those, was a fantastic use case who somebody looked at the TripAdvisor postings to detect food poisoning problems in different countries. I think this is so fantastic to look at the trip site and from there to extrapolate that, watch out, in this country, I saw many people reported they got sick after they ate at these restaurants in this region. I mean, it's amazing. So again, what I would do, I would try to let my mind work and try to combine things even from different domains and using this amazing technology to put them together.
Agreed. And that leads to my next question. So when we talk so much about artificial intelligence, and when we are so much indulged into the new technologies of generative AI and integrating them, so some of the participants might only come up with the ideation of just integrating, because only for the sake of using AI, right? Or for the sake of using generative AI, they will just integrate within UiPath and they'll just try to put it that way. But also participants have to think from a perspective that it has to be an automation idea. So starting with, it has to be an automation use case, and leading to that, if it needs AI, then they have to use the AI probably in that sector. So could you suggest one or two use cases which are pieces of hackathon, which are pieces of automation, and that needs AI. Just one or two, which are like basic examples of hackathon.
So I gave you those three patterns. All
Right.
those three patterns are those. So in like a more generic way, each time, if you try to do an automation, which you have to interact with a human, then definitely generative AI, it's extremely useful in order to make the interaction human. This is, I think, my suggestion. Think about always to use generative. Now, you don't have to use generative AI, for example, to query a database and to get data about a client. We have the traditional technology for this. But if you have something, another thing, for example, if you want to a contract, let's say you assume like you do an insurance thing and you have to go through a lot of documents and you have to summarize and you have to do question answers to a document and then based on that go to the next step. So every time when think about generative AI, it's very good to create something new or to summarize something which exists and will take a lot of work, and to find similarities between two things, for example. So if you have, definitely, if you have a resume and you have the requirements of your job, no, it's a pretty complicated thing to see how they match. You can do with ChatGPT with one prompt, this thing, to create a specialized prompt, and then you can compare with the requirements with the candidate in HR. So these are the things which I think you should use for this.
Agreed. These examples actually, makes a lot of sense because prior like 2 to 3 years, if we have to do resume matching, right, we have to literally go for keyword extraction and then match those keywords with the data or of the job description, right, and then verify based on the parity of match. And but now it's just one prompt. That's all it needs. But for the people who are going to participate in this hackathon, so I believe like there are so many people still who are going to participate because there is still a time for the registration to this hackathon, and so many people are also going to watch this recording if not in the session today. So they will definitely have a certain thought in their mind whether to go ahead with the AI use case or not. So can we expect a little I can say motivation or encouragement from you for those who wish to join the AI challenge but lack the knowledge? And can you just guide them that whether it is easy for them, and if they should start, then at what point? I'm sorry, I have a lot of questions there.
So the encouragement is what? Encouragement is no matter what you do with generative AI, to combine it with automation is something new. Because you said that I have an immense experience with AI. I don't. Nobody has an immense experience with AI because AI changed 4 months ago or 5 months ago with the apparition of foundational models. It changed. We didn't. In 2015, I created a question answer system for documents. It took us 2 years to do it, and we had to write for every question. So it was like an FAQ predefined question. Now to any question is given. So my encouragement is, doesn't matter what you do. If you combine the generative AI with automation and you create something useful, it's some absolutely innovation in the space, because there is no history into this. You are in an uncharted territory right now, trying to combine these new technologies.
Amazing. I mean, the thought of a white background or a white canvas where you have open ideas and where you can actually design whatever you want. And it's a platform for the new ideas. Right? And I have seen in history that most of the new companies or startups, they emerge from hackathons at certain point. And I've seen many examples of those. So if any of us who are joining or participating in this hackathons, just not just for the sake of hackathon, but come up with an idea which is actually something innovative and which brings a huge impact on the table, right? So a last question to you, George. So according to you, what is the huge impact if someone wants to show in their hackathon solution?
Can you repeat what is the impact?
So according to you, what would be an impactful solution? What would be the definition of an impactful solution, according to you?
Well, impactful solution is very abstract. So I give you a few examples. So for example, I take you, Nisarg. So I commented in when you posted that you won that hackathon. I was absolutely impressed by the application that you took, because now you hear only these things about responsible AI where they use AI for bad things. You proved that you could do AI for something extremely useful, and which was real problem of the today's world, that you solved it. So you can have a social impact, then you can have actually a big technology impact, because you create a combination about things that nobody thought about. So you can have another, like a technology impact. Then you can have another impact about thinking about it's called the trustworthy AI part. For example, if you read about trustworthy AI, there are a lot of questions right now using these technologies. So maybe, for example, think about that you are doing an AI to rate a customer who is applying to a bank for credit. So if the AI will deny this, you will be exposed to the possibility that you basically play with the life of a person who wants to buy a house. You cannot just communicate that back without a human reviewing it. So you have to look, as I said, one, you can have social impact, technology impact, and definitely in all this trustworthy AI or responsible AI, it's really domains that will show the amazing things that you can do in the same time to make sure that AI is used in a creative and helps the humanity in general.
That's great. Thank you so much, George. This really means a lot to all of us. Rohit, do we have any questions in chat for George?
Not yet, but we are waiting for some questions. So while the questions are flowing in, I would like to use this opportunity to kind of quickly take everyone through the hackathon challenge. I am assuming that not everyone has had the opportunity to go through it. So when you go to the hackathon page, I had shared the link on the chat. I will share it again. This is what the page looks like. We have all the details about the two categories. As you can see, one is...
Rohit, we are able to see your desktop.
Yeah, we cannot see this page.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Stop share. Thank you for highlighting that. I believe you can see the screen now.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you go on the HyperHack link which is shared on the chat, Christina, maybe you can share it again on the chat if you can.
Yes, of course, and maximize if you can the view a bit so you can see a bit better. I will send the link now in chat.
Yes. So we have all the details mentioned on the landing page itself. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any queries, any suggestions, any ideas that you want to bounce off, anywhere you feel you are struggling. We also have a forum thread on which we are having the questions answered from the community. So as we spoke earlier, the two categories are AI powered automation. So we got a lot of ideas about what can be done here through George and Nisarg and their interactions. The next question is again core business automation solution. So any solution that would not have AI as a component can fit under this. We expect you to use at least 2 of the UiPath technology or tools as it is mentioned here in the challenge. So just go through that, brainstorm and come with a few ideas around it. Just make sure that the challenge is open. It's live. It has been live since last 1 week. The registrations will be open till July 14th. So please make sure that you go on this page and click on register here with all the details that you can. That you can participate individually or as a team. Your team size can be maximum of 4 people. So you can define or decide whom you want to participate with. It is not necessary that you participate with your own colleagues from the same company or anything like that. You can find the right team and get it done. Here you are representing individually, not as part of any company. So please do keep that in mind. So there are a few rules and regulations. I'm not going to read through it entirely because it's quite out there. This is something that we want to certainly share. So there are certainly awards for the best solutions that we come across, which are decided by the evaluators and the jury members. So for each category, we have say $9,000 worth of prizes up for grabs. So you will find the details over here. If you end up being a finalist, you will also get a certificate from our side. So here are a few of the important dates. So we opened the registration on the 15th of June. Today is 22nd of June, and we have 2 of the enablement sessions for this. This is the first one that you are part of. The second one is around increase your entry effectiveness with the UiPath HyperHack 2023. You can register for the sessions from this landing page itself. All of them have the links embedded in them, and you can choose which suits you the most. We have more of these sessions coming in on June 29th and July 6th. So see what interests you the most, what topic is more exciting for you, and maximize the resources that you have before you apply for this solution. Once we close the registrations on June 14th, we will have 1 week of time to submit the solution. So that will be closed on July 21. Registration is you won't be asked for the project details during the registration. So if you have interest to participate, you do not need to build the solution. Just go ahead and register right now. Once you've done that, you can start building your solution parallelly, and you have to submit your complete solution with all the details as mentioned here before July 21. The link to the submission is also mentioned over here. So this is the link where you can submit the project. I'm not going to paste all the links over here just because it will confuse you at this point. All the solution that you'll be submitting will be public. So it's not any confidential things over here. So as part of the submission itself, you will have to submit or publish your solution on the use case repository along with all the other solutions which are there for the public. So the world will be able to learn from what you have submitted and get cues and inputs and maybe if possible in future build further. If you want to look at what a HyperHack winning solution looks like, we have some links around some of our past winners. So you can go over there and see what some of them have built in the past. You won't be able to see the entire solution, but you will get an abstract idea of what they were working on. It doesn't mean that you build something similar and that's gonna decide the result, but it certainly gives you some direction on how to go ahead with. So these are the. I'll also share the link to the HyperHack forum thread. So any questions, any queries that you might have, we have opened up a public thread on UiPath forum. You can just go here and post your queries. We can already see that there are a few questions coming in over here, and any question that you post, we will make sure that the response to those are coming in fast and quick from our team or from the community. So I'll just share this link as well on the chat. Okay. Yes, I think we can open up for questions. We are on top of the hour, but any questions that you want to ask, we are here to answer. Interestingly, no questions on chat. I'll give option for you to unmute as well. So you can unmute and ask the questions as well.
Please use this opportunity to ask us any questions you have regarding the content on the landing page and the walkthrough of the program that Rohit just did. So anything regarding enablement sessions, timeline, steps, criteria, submission, anything regarding that. Yes, the recording will be posted on the event link. And if you are registered to the event, you will get an email notifying you with the deck and the recording tomorrow. And one other mention, we want to say that we have this year split by time zones, the enablement sessions. So there will be also 2 enablement sessions, 1 and 2 for the America time zone, which are on the same day, only a bit later. If any of you has availability during those hours, you are more than welcome to join the America time zone enablement session as well. The content will be different as well. The presenters will be different. You see all the titles and the content in the landing page of the hackathon. So if you want to just have a view of the content of the enablement session and what will be presented and who will be the support and the speakers in the enablement sessions, you can access the event links there. Feel free to ask questions now because this is the very first session we have and we have support here. We also have 3 people from the UiPath team here, from the community team. So this is high time for any questions to be answered right in the beginning to make sure you are starting off perfectly.
How many of you already registered or are going to register today or tomorrow? Maybe you can just post on chat or raise your hand. Yes.
Yeah, give us a show of hands if you can raise your hand if you are already registered or you're planning to register today or tomorrow.
Yes, Karuna. Thank you so much. Parthiban, perfect.
Yeah.
Can we get this
I've
PPT?
registered already, and thanks for the session. Actually, it was very helpful and thanks to me. And I do have one question regarding like what was the priority, like how, if we participate as a team or participate as an individual, what was the difference between this? Like if we have multiple ideas, how we can work with, if I have work with team, I have an individual idea as well, how we can take it up this?
Yeah, if you work with team, you submit one idea. If you have another idea which you want to submit individually, you can submit a separate idea individually as well. There is no,
Awesome.
it's not that you can only and this is for everyone. It's not that you can only submit or participate with just one team. If you feel that you have multiple ideas and you are doing those ideas with different teams, please do submit all of them. Just have individual submissions separately done for that. And yeah, all of them will be considered.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And that's, yeah, okay, Christian, I already answered. Perfect.
Any other
Google,
questions?
Google, I didn't see your hand raised. Sharif, I hope you will be also participating. Ashwin, oh, yeah, a lot of familiar faces. Yes, Ashwin, okay. Thank you for raising hands. Sudarshan.
Or maybe Ashwin, you have a question?
No, Christina. So I'm good. So I'm also going to participate in this one. So
Okay.
I'm so excited on this as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashwin.
I think if any of you maybe has like while you are figuring out how to form the teams, so if any of you wants to seek support to form a team, I think you can also use the forum thread for that. So if you're looking for extra team members or like a specialization within the team, you want to designate a team member for something, you can use the support forum thread for that and ask and source team members. If you are having like a team model in mind and you want to complete that.
Awesome. Any questions before we wrap up? Just checking.
Okay, you can continue asking your questions on the forum thread. And we will look at it daily starting now, because we started the enablement sessions, and we'll see how we can best answer. We also have a dedicated colleague for the forum. So please ask your questions there or on the community@uipath.com email. And please register, as soon as the sooner the better. If you register,
Thank you.
and, then you can start.
Yeah, Mayank, are you there? Mayank?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's too late for
Just
you. Thank you
listening
so
in.
much. Thank you so much for joining in.
No, I really loved the session, and great presentation from George. I think there's some, excellent, improvements and advancements through the generative AI, and I really liked it. So thanks for organizing this.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayank.
Okay.
Perfect. So we'll stop the recording then.